were very informative and interactive, and you had a good, sumptuous lunch. So now we move on to our third session, and for starting out with this third session, for the welcome note, I would request the Chancellor, Riphah International University, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Khan Saab, sir, to please on the stage. Need your applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Respected President of APSAP, Chaudhry Abdur Rahman Sahib, the honorable members of the Executive Committee of APSAP, respected and honorable Vice Chancellors, Rectors, Chairmen, Board of Governors of universities, sponsors of private sector universities, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, some postgraduate students are also here. So dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I believe today is a historic occasion. I've had the privilege of speaking on a number of national and international forums, but today, addressing this August gathering consisting of almost 150 rectors and vice chancellors really is an amazing experience. In our vernacular, it's like Suraj ke samne chirag jilane ke mutradif hai. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to welcome every one of you here. It's heartening to note that APSAP has become a very effective forum in gathering the top intellectual leadership of this country. With almost 3 million students studying in the universities of Pakistan, who are our future leadership, who are in fact the very future of this country, and their futures are shaped by your decisions and by your leadership. Again, I would restate that the credit goes to the amazing and dynamic leadership of our President, Chaudhry Abdur Rahman Sahab, his very effective team of chapter presidents who've done an amazing job of organizing this August forum. Ladies and gentlemen, from the invention of the wheel to the rockets which travel into space, from invention of the scanners which peer into the human cells, from development of digitally powered telescopes that peer in the space, humanity has achieved amazing technological prowess. So I'll just wait for a second, give everybody a chance to settle down. Yeah. Yeah. Not at all, please. So the progress, and I'll try to continue from where I left off, and we are honored by presence of Professor Iqbal Chaudhry Sahab, a leading scientist. So the world over its history, the humans over their progress have made amazing achievements. Life-changing, world-changing achievements have been made. But I believe that today humanity is on a cusp of change such which has never been witnessed in the last 10,000 years of human history. No technology, no breakthrough in human intellectual history, scientific history, has ever been able to think for itself, learn for itself, and create new knowledge, create new discoveries for itself. And I refer, of course, to artificial intelligence. When ChatGPT came out with its first version, ChatGPT or ChatGPT 1, at that time, it was estimated that it was almost equal to the IQ of Einstein. Now it's empirically been proven that the IQ of Einstein was approximately 2 times 2x of a monkey. So 2x doesn't sound too much, but that's a difference between taking humanity to the space and monkeys still having fun, swinging on the trees. I wonder which is doing better though, come to think of it. 3 years ago, ChatGPT passed the United States MD examination. It passed the US bar examination for the lawyers. Right now, we have ChatGPT 5, which of course is much more advanced than Einstein could ever be. This very year, 2 scientists got Nobel Prizes by the Karolinska Award Committee. Both of them accepted that 80% of their creative research work was done with the help of AI. Nobel Prize Committee estimates that in the year 2027, 2 years from now, at least 1 Nobel Prize will be awarded to the work done singularly by AI. So that has never ever happened in human history. Pharmaceutical companies in United States have cut down their drug development time from 2.5 to 3 years to some of them who have deployed AI effectively to 6 months. Very recently, a young startup AI based in Pakistan, led by a Catholic graduate, Pakistani kid, gave us a demo at Riphah University, which was an assessment AI. You can upload any curriculum you want. It could be MBBS, it could be Doxava psychology, it could be a PhD level curriculum, it could be a kindergarten level curriculum, and this AI would develop the entire assessment plan for that curriculum. For each and every course, it will develop the assignments questions, it will develop the quizzes for you, it will develop your midterm examinations, it will develop your end semester examinations. Not only that, the AI is going to be able to qualitatively make assessments and give marks to these assessment tools as well. I think this was 3 months ago, Harvard Business Review presented a case study in which they selected 2,000 high-end software programmers, developers from 33 different countries, and they were given a task, a challenge to develop software to address that challenge. 1/3 of them were requested to develop the software on their own, not using any technology. 1/3 of them were requested to develop using AI. and 1/3 of the programmers was requested to use only AI for developing this very high-end program. Harvard then set up an independent reviews committee to assess the quality of the programming. What it revealed was the best programming, the best quality programming was done by human programmers using AI. The second best programming was done by AI itself. So those humans, and we're talking about smart people here, working for world-class organizations, world-class programmers, they were rated number 3. Another pilot, 3 doctors on a chat tool were asked to interface with 5 live patients. After the interaction, they made an assessment and they asked the patients, who were human patients, how did they rate the doctors? Not only on technical competency, but very human qualities such as sympathy. How did the doctors empathize? Even on these soft human qualities. All the 5 patients selected Dr. C across all the parameters. And interestingly, Dr. A and B were humans and Dr. C was an AI. Ladies and gentlemen, today you can log on Coursera, which has maybe thousands and thousands of courses, which are developed by world-class professionals. It's now powered by an AI-assisted tool, and you can ask for any learning outcome. So we're very fortunate our president is a PhD in leadership, right? So if I ask Chaudhry Abdul Rahman Saab, for our hospital, can you kindly develop a 6-month certificate program, leadership for doctors? So I'm sure he'll have to maybe think about it for a while, take a few days, consult maybe some juniors, and then come up with a curriculum. But today, on Coursera, you can press a button, define your learning outcomes, and an entire course is going to be presented to you. Very recently, Professor Dr. Geoffrey Hinton, who's widely regarded as the father of AI, Nobel Prize winner as well, was asked, what do you see for the future of AI and humanity? And he said that whatever humans can do, AI will be doing it better in next 3 to 5 years. Not far off, not like in 25 years' time, 3 to 5 years. And the interviewer asked him, so what do you suggest our young kids should become? And what should they do about the jobs for the future? And Mr. Hinton replied that they should think of becoming plumbers, masoners, so somebody who can do something with their hands. But even that is going to be replaced because progressively robots are coming up and they're already being presented, showcased on different exhibitions, which are as nimble, almost as nimble as human beings with their hands and movements and can grab and do a lot of things. I raise this point, and I know, there's been such a big chat of AI all over the world, and I'm not talking about something, new here. Most of you are familiar with one achievement or the other achievement of AI. But I think on today's gathering, we need to think how it is going to impact the role of the teacher, the role of academic leaders, and the role of higher education. Just surely as internal combustion engine, which lasted for about 100 years, is going to be dying its death because of a better technology, which is EV technology. It will take maybe some time, another 5 to 10 years to catch up, but internal combustion engine and the cars, most of the cars that we are driving, are doomed to obsolescence. You simply cannot change that fact. Similarly, I believe that university as an entity, as an organization, probably came into being about 1,000 years ago. The universities, the structure in which we were trained, and in which we in turn educate and train the youngsters, is also fast going towards obsolescence. 10 years from now, ladies and gentlemen, including myself, none of us will be having any jobs. We need to wake up to that reality and change accordingly. I'm not trying to be dramatic here. We can think, some of us may think, all right, I just have only 5 years for my retirement, let's just hang on. But if we have that approach, it's going to be serious disservice to the youth we have the privilege and honor to train. So I hope, and I will conclude shortly, I hope that our higher education regulatory framework also evolves accordingly. We can't have higher education regulatory agencies, whether it's PMDC, the pharmacy councils, the HECs, the computing councils, as much as regard and respect we have. I don't want to offend anybody, but you cannot subject universities and colleges and institutions We are privileged to welcome our former Prime Minister, Mr. Awasi Sahab, who I have, personally keep in a lot of respect. He's a man of intellect and dedicated towards serving Pakistan for a better future. So I would just conclude in his presence that it's imperative that our regulatory bodies wake up to this reality. It's no longer relevant that you come to the libraries and have a KPI and start counting the books, the number of books in the library. This device in my hand, we all know that, this is nothing new, has access to more number of books and journals than all the universities here combined, the books and journals sitting in the libraries. We cannot have the regulators coming to our institutions, evaluating us on brick and mortar with measurement tapes in our hands. This is going to seriously retard the education, higher education of Pakistan. So I beseech and I submit that our regulatory bodies need to wake up to this reality, and we, as the leadership of academia, must also wake up to this reality. It's a pleasure talking to all of you. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Khan Sahab, the Chancellor of Riphah International University, and a warm welcome to Shahid Khaqan Abbasi Sahab, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing here, sir. And now I would request Her Excellency, the German Ambassador to Pakistan, Ms. Ina Leppel, ma'am, to please come on the stage.
Your Excellency, former Prime Minister, Your Excellency, Minister of State, esteemed Mr. Hassan Mohammed Khan, Chancellor of Riphah University, esteemed Mr. Asadullah, Executive Director of Riphah University, esteemed rectors and other members of the Association of Private Sector Universities of Pakistan, esteemed professors, faculty members, graduate students, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be with you today during the second day of this eminent conference, which this year focuses on governance, leadership, and reforms in higher education. And I'm very honored and humbled to be in the presence of so many vice rectors and chancellors. Vice chancellors and rectors, sorry. The title of this year's Sixth Rectors Conference reflects how aware all of you are of the challenges you are facing, as well as of the enormous responsibility you and your universities have for the success of young men and women who expect nothing less from you than to prepare them for their professional lives, but also for their future lives as accomplished personalities in general. Working for the private sector, universities whose students are mostly able to pay higher study fees does not make it easier. As on the one hand, parents and students expect you to deliver on their money. On the other hand, you strive to make sure that while students learn all the skills they need to learn for their professional future, they do not stop there, but become mature human beings with a social conscience and an awareness of their responsibility for other people's life. Assuming that a university degree is not only meant to ensure success in the job market would therefore be totally mistaken. Pakistan has a proud intellectual and spiritual tradition, and while it may be important that your students make their parents proud, I think it is just as important that they make the great Allama Iqbal proud. Being able to think and act as independent individuals will also, incidentally, make it easier for Pakistani students and graduates to succeed in universities and workplaces abroad, as for instance in Germany. As you know, more and more Pakistani students are interested in pursuing their postgraduate academic studies in Germany and to stay there for at least a few years after they graduate. They are attracted by our country's scientific and technological excellence, but also by the fact that there are practically no tuition fees, which to many feels like a universal scholarship. Please allow me to underline that we have recently streamlined our visa process for students and brought down waiting times for appointments from more than 1 year to about 3 months. The challenges for Pakistani and other South Asian students in Germany very often consist in our language, but perhaps even more in the fact that suddenly these students suddenly have to do everything themselves. No cleaner to take care of the home, no tutor to go through the last classes with, no one-on-one session to navigate the choices provided in the curriculum, and of course, no family to support one. While this might be hard to deal with for a lot of students at first, it certainly helps them in becoming more independent and to adapt to challenges they will face in their professional and private lives. It will also help them in becoming better leaders and decision makers in the future. Considering the importance of encouraging students to become not only technically well-trained professionals, but also mature persons and responsible leaders, I applaud your awareness of these challenges, and I wish all of you the best of success for your important deliberations. Once again, thank you very much once again for welcoming me today in your midst. I look forward to exchanging with many of you and to learning more about your universities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Germany, Ms. Enna Lepel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there was a time that you started up with the validation forums, and now let's hear it from the moderators that who have been, what are the recommendations there. So, sir, first of all, I would request all the moderators here to come here and just to have a brief just note of what they have recommended. So first of all, I would request Mr. Awais Rauf Saab, sir, to please honor the stage.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to, on behalf of All Pakistan Private Universities Association, would like to welcome Ms. Wajia Kamar for joining us. Mr. Prime Minister, so it's always a pleasure to have you with us, and Her Excellency, the German Ambassador as well. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank COMSTECH for always providing us the opportunity to host this event every year at this Augustus Avenue. This year, at the 6th Rectors Conference, a new activity was added, which was to have roundtables and bring about all the brilliant minds together and raise certain issues of national importance. And through the brainstorming that would take place at those venues, come up with certain policy recommendations. And out of the three major issues that were raised, governance obviously being the most important, was deliberated in detail. And before I put the recommendations to this Augustus Forum, I would like to discuss the most important issue that was being deliberated, was that the universities in Pakistan, which are the thinking grounds, which are the center of all the intellectual thought, do they have the right to suggest issues which are of federal or provincial importance, which are issues related to governance in the country, or should they be the place from where the conversation should start to begin with? So we found that many of thought leaders, vice chancellors, rectors believe that that is the place where the future lies, that is where our youth is. A country where close to 60% of the population is under 25. Though enrollment in higher education institutions is actually close to 13% only, that is the best of our minds which are studying in the universities of this country. Should we deliberate with them, because they will be the leaders of the future? So most of the people who participated believed that either we become passive and just see for what is happening in the country, what is going wrong at governance level, or we start the conversation and start to influence decision making ultimately. And if we're able to inculcate in the minds of these young boys and girls a better idea for a beautiful future, probably when they will reach the ages where they can contribute to leadership thinking in this country, they will already have these issues deliberated over years and years in their minds and probably bring about change. So that was the first conclusion that we draw. At governance, the biggest point that we have identified was that over the last 70-some years, the governance structure in the country has simply not changed. There was a time the total population of Pakistan was around 30 million, and today 240 million, and we still have only 4 provinces which are very large in size. And even if you consider Punjab for that matter, which is 52% of the population of Pakistan, it's simply not governable. Somebody sitting in Lahore probably may not be able to manage issues at rural level. So that was what we all deliberated. We talked about decentralization. We realized that the state institutions have to have sovereignty, they have to have independence, they have to have independence of thinking and deciding. The institutions of this country need to be strengthened as well. At the end, with all the conversation, we at our forum concluded that we have this responsibility to contribute to the national dialogue. We have a responsibility to suggest to the leadership that how this country should move in the future forward. we have a responsibility to give a better future to our youth. We as thought leaders, vice chancellors, pro-rectors and rectors from all the public and private sector universities have a responsibility to give a better future to our youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Awais Rauf Saab. And now I would request Dr. Sami Bajwa Saab, sir, to please come on the stage and talk about your recommendations regarding leadership, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chair and respectable Vice Chancellors and Rectors of universities, I had this pleasure and honor to moderate the session of 35 Vice Chancellors and Rectors from different universities of Pakistan. The agenda was discussion on the second theme of the Rector Conference, which is leadership crisis. There was a consensus among participants that yes, we are indeed facing leadership crisis in this country. And this leadership crisis is rooted partially in the fact that over the last few decades, our society in general and academia in particular has been more focused on competence as compared to character. So this neglect has repercussion for us. And now it was recommended that starting from the recruitment of faculty and top leadership, character should be made part of the criteria. Their promotions, their upgradation to the next levels should be dependent not only on their competencies and achievements, but also on the character that they demonstrate at the current position. The second recommendation came that universities must foster a culture which is conducive for nurturing morally sound, better leaders at all echelons of the university. Students, faculty, top leadership, administrators, all of them should combine hands, should join forces to develop that sort of a culture. And that culture will require multifaceted interventions in the realms of students' curriculum, faculty trainings, and many other initiatives. And there was also this agreement that pivot of all these activities will be role modeling. We need role models for developing character. And to develop those role models, it was suggested that we need to come out of this colonialism, intellectual colonialism, and instead of borrowing leadership models from West, we need to develop a model which is rooted in the exemplary life of Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. To that end, the prophetic model presented yesterday and today was discussed in detail as a truly transformational, timeless, and universal model. And finally, the participants resolved that as shown in this prophetic model, the process of leadership development starts with self. So we all need to focus on ourselves first, and then the outcome of that development will come in the shape of better society and better universities. So the participants agreed and they recommended that at the leadership level of the universities, with moral courage, with competence and with character, the rectors as leaders can not only deal with the external pressures which they quite often face, but they can also pave way towards developing morally conscious, ethical leaders for future and ultimately a prosperous society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sami Bajwa. Now I would request Dr. Hamad Naveed Saab, the Pro-Rector UCP, sir, to please. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chair, respected Vice Chancellors and Rectors of the universities. I had the honor of moderating the validation reform on higher education reforms. बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें बाकी दूसरे फोरम्स में हो गई हैं. हमारा बड़ा टेक्निकल एजेंडा था कि व्हाट वी नीड टू डू फॉर द हायर एजुकेशन टू मेक इट बेटर. तो उसके अंदर we came down to 5-6 points that everybody agreed on and expressed there. We had about 35-40 people from across Pakistan, from KBK, Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan, and we had a very healthy discussion. Jo sabse bada point, the thing that was highlighted most was the requirement of autonomy and inclusive governance. So autonomy, when we say autonomy, this is all kinds. Isme autonomy to appoint the right person in the right place, autonomy for financial independence to plan your budget and hire and spend it accordingly, autonomy in terms of curriculum development, so not unnecessarily tell the universities that you have to have general education ke ye wale courses ya ye wale courses, be that Constitution of Pakistan or Pakistan Studies or whatever, Islamabad coming in, and some other civic engagement, because every university exists in an ecosystem. For example, Murray ki Kohsar University exists in a very different ecosystem compared to Hamari Lahore ki universities. So every university has to find what is most important in terms of their surroundings and how they can contribute back. Jiski wajah se we need to give flexibility and autonomy in all these issues, financial, curriculum development and policy ke liye. Second thing that was highlighted in terms of policy reform was that we've been directed towards a lot of numbers to generate research. So thus, if you publish 10 papers, you'll become an associate professor, 15 papers professor, but nobody really talked about what problem or local solution or industrial need there is. So we've been publishing a lot, and I think we've sort of grown as a country in terms of publications, but we've not been able to solve our local problems. So our alignment of research has to be towards our local problems that will result in local solutions, जो कि कोई भी अंग्रेज हमारे लिए आके नहीं solve करेगा. The third thing that was, we need to do a lot of curriculum modernization, because the change that used to occur in 10 years now occurs within a single year, while the curriculum committees meet every 3 to 5 years, which is why change is not trickling down. And we need to reduce unnecessary general education ke courses and concentrate more on technology ke courses. We need to strengthen faculty development, particularly in regional areas like southern Punjab, interior Sindh, where there is a dearth of quality faculty. So we need to establish academic and leadership training centers to professionalize teaching, management and research practices. Similarly, for the promotion and evaluation systems, there has to be a shift from the publication count criteria to innovation, impact, community relevance in the academic evaluation. A lot of the countries have even now shifted from a thesis to a product. India, China, US being a few of them. Lastly, we wanted to emphasize, and we discussed this at length, that we need to prioritize shifting towards distance learning, open and distance learning technologies, so that we do not keep making brick and mortar buildings more and more, and we give our access to the people who don't have access right now. This will reduce the price of giving education and increase our quality as we go along. So we wanted to emphasize that we need to expand open and distance learning. We need to enhance and industry academia linkages, so whatever things that we are researching on or solving are relevant to Pakistan and our local community, and not necessarily solving the first world problems. So this was it from our side. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hamad. And now I would request our guest of honor for this session, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi Saab. He recently had heart surgery, sir. Thank you very much for the cause of education that you have come here, sir. So please come up. I just heard, sir. That is why I said I'll just put it up with that.
Nothing that serious. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished Vice Chancellors and Rectors, it's a privilege for me to be here. The theme of this conference is very valid, and it not only is something that affects education, it's something that affects our whole country also. So leadership, governance and reforms is something which we need in the academic sector, but we also desperately need it in our country. I always, I have some kind of radical ideas about where education is headed in Pakistan. But I think we need to take a step back below the university level, which is the entry level for the universities. And I think there's a very serious problem there. We are a country, probably one of the few countries in the world, which allows 5 different systems of education, at least 5. We have our board systems, we have the O level, A level, we allow American high school system to operate also, we allow IB, and then we have a very large madrasa system. So you have students from a huge variety of backgrounds coming into the university system. And to me even within that system, we should look at the board systems in Pakistan. There's a huge disparity on the quality of education and the examination that they have. So I've always been a big advocate and a failure at what Pakistan needs. And I think Pakistan really desperately needs a unified examination system. And that's what I think something the university should strive for. If the US system can work on a unified examination system for entry into universities and beyond, I don't think why Pakistan cannot do that. And the SAT system is fairly simple. It's basically 8th level English and 8th grade English and 8th grade math with a time pressure. So if you understand the concept, you will succeed, otherwise you'll not succeed. So if you look at our board systems, they used to have much higher quality, now they don't. And there's a wide array of what the boards will do and what they cannot do, and the integrity levels are very, very poor. So we really need to be cognizant of that fact. I had an opportunity about 2 decades back to teach at when the universities are coming in, private universities are coming in. I and Hassan Iqbal Sahab we had nothing better to do, so we started teaching at the universities. And I can tell you, I hope it's changed, and I'm sure it's changed, but a majority of the students in those classrooms did not belong in that classroom, because the basic education was not up to the entry level for a university. So if your intake is of that quality, then your output will also be not up to world standards or the standards that Pakistan needs. So I think we need to address this issue first. A unified examination system for entry into the university system. That's, to me, that's critical, and I think that's where the whole thing has to start. If you look at regulation, I think the gentleman before me was talking about that. If you look at the HEC, you cannot measure education in acres of land and square footage of buildings. You need to measure it with different parameters. And to me, those are quality parameters. So, and I'm sure if we use the HEC standards, probably Harvard College will not qualify to be a university in Pakistan. So HEC has to fix its problems. It's a regulator. And that's, again, not only an issue in the academic sector, it's also an issue in the whole of Pakistan. All the regulators have failed or are failing. You look at the power regulator, the gas regulator, the media regulator, the financial regulator, the stock exchange regulator. I mean, all of them, if you look at the problems of those sectors, they stem from the problems of the regulator. So the same thing in education. The HEC really needs to reinvent itself, think of what its role in the life of the university is, its role in higher education is, and work accordingly. The world has changed substantially. It is changing very fast, and our HEC also needs to change. The universities also need to change. We place a lot of emphasis on curricula, on developing curriculums. I think that's a lower level priority if you really ask me. I'm not an expert on this, but there are bigger problems that the universities face. I think those need to be addressed. And I had a professor in university who said something which always stuck with me, which was that the student will always rise to the incompetence level of his teacher. So think about that. It has a lot of meaning. You don't rise to you rise to the incompetence level of your teacher. So if your teacher, I wish the universities would get together and look at and have one criteria at least, that to teach at the university level you must have a PhD degree. I think that's where we are failing. We are not able to produce enough PhDs, but if you put that criteria in there, I think it will accelerate the system of producing PhDs, and also the quality of PhDs. I, again, with a lot of respect, the quality of PhDs leaves a lot of doubts in my mind. When I meet people who are PhDs, some are brilliant, some are not. So there has to be a qualitative parity that has to be created there. So I hope I really, one can talk a lot about governance and reforms, and reforms have to be continuous. You look at China, I think China is probably has done more reform in the last 20 years than most countries have done in thousands of years or hundreds of years. But even today, China talks of continuous reform. So reform is not a choice. Reform is not something that you do once and forget about it. It's a continuous effort. So the universities have to continuously reform, the HEC has to continuously reform, and we need to look at what our problems are, because you have a sacred trust. You are producing the future, the leaders of tomorrow for Pakistan. So if they are not qualified enough to fill the positions that Pakistan needs, I think it will be a great disservice to Pakistan. So I hope that the education system will recognize the deficiencies, will provide the right leadership, will provide the right governance. I'm glad that you talked about governance, because universities are, at the end of the day, a business entity themselves. So they need to have the right type of people to run those institutions. And that is very seriously lacking, because somebody who could be a good professor or a good teacher may not be a good administrator. He necessarily is not somebody who can govern, who can provide leadership. Those are different qualifications. So I hope that we can recognize our issues and resolve them. But I think the biggest emphasis I would really put is on the HEC. The HEC really needs to reform itself and provide leadership for the education sector in Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And now I would request the Chairman EPSA, Professor Dr. Chaudhry Abdul Rahman Sahab, sir, to please come on the stage and give the souvenir to our guest of honor, Mr. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi Sahab, that he would remember that he was a part of the 6th Rector Conference 2025. I will request Her Excellency, Ms. Ina Lepo, ma'am, to please get your souvenir, ma'am. Thank you, Chairman Sahab. Bahut shukriya. And now, for the keynote address, I would request the Executive Director, Riphah International University, Mr. Asadullah Sahab, sir, to please come on the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Education, Fajiha Akram Sahiba, Honorable Chairman, EPSA, Chancellors, Rectors, faculty members and directors, Assalamu alaikum. It's a privilege to address this August Forum of National and Academic Leadership. We stand today at a turning point in higher education as highlighted by my predecessors. At this point, universities worldwide are revisiting not only how they teach, but why they teach. And Pakistan, which was founded on ideological commitments, carries an even greater responsibility. My job today is to share with you technology has a way of itself. Is to share with you the Riphah Tarbiyah framework, which everybody has highlighted, that Tarbiyah is one of the major things that we lack today and that are required as part of our university frameworks. So this is the second framework that is going to be presented today in front of all of you. First was presented by my dear sister, Professor Dr. Sumaira Rahman, today in the morning, and that made my job a bit easier. But it's also inspired me a lot. So let's go ahead and delve into the details. What we have done is that we have placed a kind of a folder on all of your seats, which is going to help explain my whatever discussion that I'm going to have today with you and share the details with you as the technology is kind of challenging us. So probably you'll have this in front of you as we go ahead. This Riphah Tarbiyah framework is a model of holistic well-being, tarbiyah, and value-based education, rooted in Islamic ethical foundations and blended with global best practices. This has evolved over 3 decades as a conscious movement नहीं वो ठीक था ना आपने इसको क्यों चेंज कर दिया वो डिस्प्ले अच्छा fair चलिए गुजारा करते हैं as a conscious movement for ethical, intellectual, and social transformation. As so eloquently put by my sister, Professor Dr. Sumaira Rahman, universities are producing competent graduates in ever-increasing numbers, yet societies all over the world are facing professional excellence but weakening moral foundations, technological advancements but declining social responsibility, access to information but lack of wisdom. This mismatch between education and character, between knowledge and values, is one of the greatest challenges of the modern era. And we are reaping the challenges faced by this. The founders of Riphah, recognizing this gap long before it became a global concern, Major General Dr. Zulfikar Ali Khan, late, envisioned an institution that repairs this dichotomy. Our guiding philosophy is simple yet transformative, which is education must develop the mind, purify the heart, strengthen character, and refine conduct in accordance with the example set by our beloved Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This philosophy is anchored in three very simple Quranic concepts, and we all know them and utter them every day, which are Taaleem, Tarbiyah, and Tazkiyah. But they have subtle connotations. Taaleem is imparting beneficial knowledge. We do quite good at that. But we lack in Tarbiyah, which is nurturing personality and behavior, and Tazkiyah, which is purifying intention, character, and conduct. And I think this is something which is very well highlighted in the morning, and I think I'll be focusing on this. Let us catch up with. Is it me or somebody else's phone? No, it's not mine. Somebody else is doing something else. Okay, so what we have is, let's continue. Riphah International University was conceived not as an academic institution, but as a movement for moral and social uplift. We therefore integrate universal Islamic ethical values, and you have in front of you these values that we have. It's okay. No worries. We integrate these universal Islamic ethical values, which are akhirah, excellence, consultative decision making, teamwork, compassion, and accountability across curricula, policies, classroom environments, student development activities, and institutional culture. These values are not just printed on boards and displayed around the university. We mean each one of them, and we incorporate them in everything that we do. This value-centric approach has enabled us to produce graduates who are academically capable, morally grounded, emotionally balanced, and socially responsible. At Riphah, the success of a graduating student is not defined merely by income or employment. मेरा फोन बाहर में जहाँ रख दे रहा हूँ। Okay, fine. And the success of our graduating students is not defined merely by income or employment. A truly successful graduate is one who serves humanity, upholds ethical values, contributes positively to society, while always remaining conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Delving into the brass tacks of our Riphah framework, we started off by developing a model for development. Unless we have something in front of us, what do we really want to do, nothing can happen. So we developed a formal model that aligns our faculty development, student tarbiyah, and management policies and practices at Riphah. This model provides comprehensive framework defining the attributes we aspire to inculcate in every student. And you will be very, I was pleasantly surprised that the model that Sister Sumaira presented in the morning, and actually this is just more of a format change. Otherwise, the essence is the same. We start with a core belief system, which is the heart and soul of that character building, and then this is built upon this is the servitude of outlook of servitude towards the creator and the created. Development of individual virtues such as truthfulness, modesty, boldness, perseverance, humility, and gratitude. And then finally, training students to fulfill their roles responsibly from family to society, nation, and the global community. The similarity is not surprising because the source is the same, which is the uswa or the role model of Nabi Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And we both have deeply partaken from his sunnah, and I think that's the beauty of
you can, this is what I think Sister Sumaira was also elaborating, that you go around the world, do as many researches, you will end up at the same result. This is the best model, and we need to start working upon it. We have the best of best available, but the only thing is that we're not seriously working to incorporate this in whatever we do. Based on this model, the outcome that we expect out of our students, we have 4 goals, which are lifelong learner, a confident person, an active contributor, and a responsible citizen. These are the 4 goals of the student development but these are very, they look like simple goals, but they have a very strong depth around that. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You cannot be a responsible citizen or an active contributor unless you've got those, the character traits. I think that Professor Rahman Sahab always says that, you have to start from the self, from within. The journey starts from within. And that's the whole point about it. So how do we go about doing it? How do we implement this model into our students? There is a formal faculty development program, student tarbiyah program, and then policies and practices. And I'll try to just briefly, because I know that I've got limited time, so I would like to just briefly skim over things and try to share with you, and then we can have detailed follow-up sessions wherever we want to. Faculty development, we have always heard that Chinese proverb which says that you cannot clean a table with a dirty cloth. We all know that nothing can happen if our faculty plays the role of inspirative mentors, guides, and counselor to the students. So our focus on Tarbiyat starts from developing our faculty members. In 2008, we developed an academy dedicated for it. It's called Riphah Academy for Research and Education, and it focuses on pedagogical excellence, worldview building, professional ethics, and learning facilitation, in addition to the faculty of area of specialization. Some glimpses of the program are that whenever a faculty member comes into Riphah, he undergoes a 2-day workshop on ethical excellence and teachers' roles and responsibilities. Then we have a 1-year postgraduate diploma in professional ethics and teaching methodology. And we have almost, alhamdulillah, almost 800 faculty members currently working. A lot of them who passed this diploma have actually, in turnover. But 800 almost faculty members are still in the university faculty who are teaching at Riphah. This diploma, the key element is that this diploma is facilitated by the Vice Chancellor himself. So he himself conducts this course, and that's the leadership by example that we have to ensure that all our faculty members have the same passion towards building the character of the students like the university leadership does with them. Then we have weekly Quran circles in which we continuously interact with the faculty members, and through Quranic injunctions we try to build that prophetic model in them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an ever-increasing number of female students entering into the programs of higher education. At Riphah, our ratio is 60-40, 60 in the favor of the females. And in some faculties, as you all know, it's almost now 85-15 as well. So 85% of, in some medical programs, 85% of our students are female students. Women are contributing in higher numbers in the workforce as well. To facilitate this major shift of the society and to help them face the challenges of this changed reality, Riphah has started a Women Wellbeing Center with dedicated short courses, seminars, and workshops focused on women personal, social, and family development. This program helps our future women leaders embrace the new realities. Coming to the student development intervention after the faculty, I will share only a few of many. Students development start at the very first day. We have a structured 1-month orientation program for every new student intake. During this orientation, every student entering the university through an oath commits to seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout his or her life, continuously strive for knowledge, respect everyone, serve throughout the life, and be true to the ideology of Pakistan. To guide and measure the effectiveness of our Tarbiyah activities, we designed a survey back in 1996 in collaboration with Gallup, Pakistan. This survey is being conducted for the last 30 years at 3 points: admission, midpoint, and graduation for each cohort of students in Riphah. This survey is focused on the behaviors, attitudes, approach towards key issues affecting students and the life around them. We have a rich data of 30 years from which we tap to get insights into the student behavior and remedial strategies. A structured system of understanding and supporting students, which is, I think I will not go into the detail of this, but this is what we try to do, make sure that when the student comes into it, we understand where he's coming from. Every batch of student is different from the every previous batch. And so what we try to do is we try to understand what is being given to us, as Shahid Khakara Baji Sahab was saying, कि जो intake है वहीं से challenges शुरू हो जाते हैं. So we try to measure every intake and see what is our challenge, how we are going to take up, and then we have midpoint surveys and exit surveys to ensure that measure the effectiveness of our program, and we continuously try to realign them. Then we have based on the to build a mindset and lay the pedagogical foundation of ethical development, we have developed a comprehensive 11 credit hour module called Life on Live. This module consists of 6 courses spread over the 4 years or 5 years of study. Every student at Riphah studying in any of its 150 different programs has to complete this module. This module is designed to develop ethically grounded professionals, clarify and cultivate the Islamic worldview, build resilience, leadership and empathy, strengthen ideological clarity, and promote a balanced and purposeful lifestyle. These modules culminate into 2 end year or 4th or final year programs. One is called Professional Ethics, in which they apply the ethical framework that they have learned in the early courses and apply them in their own field of study. For example, computer के जो students होते हैं उनके साथ हम जब engagement करते हैं तो we have those kind of challenges with them कि what if you have a software which is maybe 15 or 150 or 200 million Pak rupee का एक software, and can we really make a copy of it and use it without having the right license with them? और mostly students शुरू में कहते हैं कि भाई ये तो अमेरिका का बना हुआ है और हमारे लिए तो ये जायज़ है कि हम कॉपियाँ कर लें और हम हमारा. So but then we engage with them कि इसका मतलब फिर ये हुआ कि हज़रत अली और जो हज़रत उस्मान भी जो लोग सहाबा कराम में से जो यहूदियों के कुओं के ऊपर पानी निकाला करते थे तो ज़रूर वो उसके अंदर भी फिर उनके लिए भी जायज़ होगा कि वो ये गलत कर, और कंप्यूटर साइंस ग्रेजुएट और फार्मास्यूटिक्स और सोशल साइंटिस्ट, all of them, we have these kind of professional ethics courses at the end where they apply these in their own field and develop understanding, and not only understanding but also future visions about how they're going to really contribute to their profession of study. Then the second is family life in 21st century. We all understand that with the changing culture and the changing in the society, the family life is I think is really in a high pressure, and there are a lot of new challenges coming in which we need to really discuss, dialogue, research, and develop against. So there is a family life in 21st century. It's a formal course that every student of Riphah is undertakes in its final semester, and to develop that understanding of the challenges and to develop strategies and help them play the role in their own families. These courses are again not, I think this was highlighted by one of our validation groups, that Tarbiyah cannot be done through lecturing. So what we have done is that we have reduced the number of lectures in these programs, and only 40% of the course is delivered through lectures. Rest is through experiential learning and audio, video, media based content that the students not only see but also actually produce themselves, and then the next course work on them. To augment the cognitive framework developed through Life and Living program, every student at Riphah is supported by unique mentoring program. This program is designed to make students responsible of their own learning and development, to develop proactive and long-term approach in the students, to help the students in developing their life visions in line with their ideology and purpose of life, to help students develop plans to achieve their life visions, and to develop self-discipline in them. So these are the objectives of mentoring, and the way we do it is that we have a framework which we train our students in the first semesters. Then the students develop their own goals, and then they develop plans, strategies to achieve those goals and implement them during the 4 years of their stay in the program. These goals are reviewed and refined with the help of the faculty throughout the 4 years of stay. But what we try to do is that during the stay, they need to start actively contributing toward their own goals and start becoming responsible of their own goals. These goals are developed in the specific roles that almost each one of us has to fulfill, which is a goal about himself, being a citizen, professional, bread earner, and family. You would be interested in seeing that we have two different roles, professional and bread earner. Most of the students, what we have researched, that the most of the students, they feel and they measure their success by the amount of money that they earn in their professional life. And that is a huge factor of stress on students. They feel that they are not earning enough, then they are not successful. But what we have done is we have done professional contribution as a separate role, and bread earning is as a separate role. And then of course as a role as a family member. This development of goals these goals are developed in the area of physical development, intellectual development, spiritual development, and emotional development. All the 4 areas are encompassed, and that make sure that these are comprehensive goals. And the students, when they develop these goals during their first semester, they keep on refining them in their study, in the duration of the study program. But they also, what we have seen is that after graduation also, they keep on working on these goals, and that gives them a sense of purpose, meaning, and direction in their life. We have a full calendar of extracurricular, and co-curricular student activities, and I think I agree with Sister Sumaira that these are areas where students learn working in teams, behave ethically in conflicts, and learn to face adversity. Riphah has a very strong, being a not-for-profit, we have a very strong disaster management, relief activities, and our students, they take part in it. One of the most inspiring programs that the students, one of the groups that they had, and alhamdulillah, what we have done is we have perpetuated it, was Mall of Humanity. One of the student group, what they did was they contributed themselves, and they bought a lot of clothes and provisions, and then they went into these slum areas and they gave them Riphah dollars. So those were money tokens, and they were given to based on the number of family members, etc. And they would come to that Mall of Humanity and buy things rather than giving them in charity to uphold their honor and their self-esteem. They would actually go, and the things that they bought were displayed in various stalls, and these families would come into that and buy them through that tokens that were given to them. And that, I think, that was, when I went there, it was such an inspiring thing that the whole concept was envisioned, planned, executed by the students themselves. And that's something that I think really tells us that if we really work with the student there, they go beyond your expectations. Of course, we talk about impact. Whatever this we do, I think, and I agree with the previous model that was presented, that the impact of all this is profound. It's something really phenomenal. Riphah, got the Aspire Excellence Award in Student Engagement by AMI, Association for Medical Education of Europe, the largest association in medical education in the world in 2022. And we also got the Aspire Excellence Award in Faculty Development in 2024. Our students' annual growth rate has been over 20% in the last 10 years. Our major challenge is not getting admissions. It's actually providing for वो जो HEC के मुताबिक per square foot जितनी बिल्डिंगें बनाना है, that is the challenge that we have. So वो कहते हैं ना कि हम quality का काम करें, अच्छा काम करें, वो जो success will be yours. So this is actually quite demonstrated very, very seriously in what we have seen for the last 10 years, alhamdulillah. We also have QS Asia ranking 366, 92 in South Asia, and last year we had 98.5% in HEC QEC ranking. So this is the impact of doing all that. Our faculty got engaged, they became motivated in doing things. Students and faculty, they became one team instead of working against each other and sometimes bickering against each other. The university management and university policies were there to help this interaction and to ensure. मैं एक छोटी सी बात करूं, मेरा ख्याल है कि मेरी ये आखिरी स्लाइड ही है, यही का स्लाइड और होगी अगर आप लोग मुझे इजाज़त दें तो, कि ये जो when we talk about all this, important thing is that we have to work together. और हमारी policies, the university policies and the structures of the university, the central support department, they must all be part of this common inspiration and motivation. Oh, sorry, it's going the other way around. So I'll conclude that this is something that we did, but this is not our legacy. It's a common legacy of Nabi Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we all are inspired by it, and we invite you for collaboration on joint ethical leadership programs, faculty development and capacity building workshops, structured student mentoring systems, curriculum development for character building, national level research in Islamic pedagogy, and inter-university fora on ethical well-being. Together we can nurture a generation that is intellectually capable, emotionally balanced, morally grounded, socially responsible, ideologically confident, globally competitive, and spiritually aware. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Asadullah Saab. Bahut shukriya. And now I would request that we are here at COMSTECH, and the person that was facilitated all of us here at the 6th Rectors Conference 2025. And now for the word of thanks, I would request Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry Saab, the Coordinator General OIC COMSTECH, sir, to please honor the stage. Thank you very much, sir.
Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Mahtarma Wajiha Qamar Sahib, the State Minister for Federal Education, my dear brother. Hassan Muhammad Khan, Chancellor Riphah University, my dear brother. Professor Dr. Chaudhry Abdur Rahman, the spirit behind all of it. Professor Dr. Subair Rahman, the brain of this entire event. Very distinguished delegates, vice chancellors, rectors, intellectuals from. You see, I was thinking when these wonderful presentations were made that we often have conferences in this very hall, and I attend conferences all over the world. I am the most traveled person, not the troubled person. Traveled person, certainly one of the most. That you come, you sit, you talk, and you leave. This is the event in which we have discussed some of the most enduring, some of the most punching, some of the most penetrating problems. And this is the event in which everything has been put together in a way that substance was visible in every part of it. So we are leaving today with maybe less answers, but more spirit, more hope, more questions, and a clear and perhaps understanding of what we can do. Each one of us can make the difference. Each one of us has got this tremendous opportunity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that God has placed us on these very responsible positions. If we don't do that, remember that there is a day of judgment where we would all be asked for it. I wish to remind you that we are not within that beautiful country in boundary. The promise of this country is beyond Pakistan. We have our brothers and sisters from 15 countries, the vice chancellors, rectors, intellectuals from 15 countries, various universities who came on the joint invitation of EPSAB and COMSTECH, and that we have been so absolutely honored to have you with us. I wish to invite you to think of the global map. If you travel, and Indonesian colleagues are here, from the east part of Muslim land, from Papua, take a flight and go all the way to Suriname in South America, except a brief broken part of it, which is often called the tip of India. From that part all the way to Suriname, this is the unbroken Muslim lands. You know how many hours this will take? 21 hours. The longest ever flight you will take from one end, from Papua all the way to Suriname. Think of Ummah, 2.6 billion of them. 1.9 of them are in 57 member states, the second largest political group after United Nations. 2.6 billion, a lot more, many of them lived in countries which are not OIC member states. Think of what happened to them during colonial time. 95% of these people in their countries, in their nations, or their regions were colonized. Think of them that their education system was quickly and promptly dismantled because there was a value-based system, there was a character-based system. It was promptly dismantled because this was considered as threat to colonial power, and it was replaced with a system which is at the best a second-class version of the Western system of medicine, Western system of education. What we have today are the second-class version of the Western universities in global north. Think of all these 1.9 billion people. 1.1 of them, billion of them, are below the age of 25 years. This is what we have in front of us. This is the canvas we have to work. If we think that we can only fix our own problems, then we are no different from these countries around us. We, a country which is not a God-forsaken sub-Saharan country or a Caribbean island or something like this, this is a country which was created with the promise of not only creating a nation for the Muslims of India, but a promise that we are pan-Islamic. This is a country which has a broader horizon, a strong country. I'll tell you that whenever I travel to different countries of the world, I meet people in Benin, I meet people in Ivory Coast, I go to Mauritania or Algeria or Morocco. When they listen this country's name, they have a music in the air, They think very differently of what we perceive ourselves. We think we underrate ourselves. We underrate our country. Ask them. They think of this country as strong, prosperous in terms of education, a country which can withstand pressure, a country who is willing to help, a country which represents the core Islamic values. And this is exactly what we need to do at the forum of COMSTECH. And I'm so absolutely grateful to all of you for extending help for this greater mission. This is our service. This is what we need to do for bringing this country at the forefront. This nation represents the collective wisdom, collective thought, collective hope and collective dreams of Muslim Ummah. And here we all need to work together. I'm so absolutely delighted that you all here. I'm so absolutely grateful to Chaudhry Abdul Rahman Sahab, a thinker, intellectual par excellence, who think differently, who think out of the box, who think ahead of time, and who think in a way that we connect ourselves, not only the soul, to leadership and future, but our inner core, which requires much of a deep thinking. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry Sahab. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request the Minister for State, Federal Education and Professional Training, our Chief Guest for this session, Ms. Wajiha Qamar, ma'am, please on the stage and speak on the 6th Rector Conference.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very respected Professor Dr. Abdul Rahman Sahab, Dr. Chaudhry Iqbal Sahab, Rectors, Vice Chancellors, यहाँ पे मैं देख रही हूँ इमरान साहब, डॉक्टर नियाज साहब, ब्रिगेडियर अजायब, so many, Dr. Shazad, friends of education, leaders in education, Dr. Sumaira, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon. It is truly an honor to join you today at the 6th Rectors Conference, an important gathering of minds that shape, guard, and guide the higher education landscape of Pakistan. I'm grateful to APSAP for bringing together academia, policymakers, and thought leaders on one platform at a time when the country needs clarity, courage, and collective leadership more than ever before. We stand today at a defining moment for Pakistan's future. Our demographic window is both a blessing and a responsibility. With more than 60% of our population under the age of 30, higher education institutions are not just teaching spaces. They are nation-building institutions, custodians of talent, engines of innovation, and anchors of national stability. If Pakistan is to compete globally, reduce inequality, and transition towards a knowledge-based economy, then universities must become our strongest national asset. But we cannot unlock this potential without addressing three urgent challenges, the same themes this conference rightly focuses on: governance, leadership, and reform. Weak governance is not merely an administrative issue, it is a national loss. The governance deficit in our universities manifests in fragmented regulations, inconsistent standards across all provinces, over-centralization in some areas and under-regulation in others, gaps in accountability and transparency, and limited autonomy paired with limited responsibility. Modern Pakistan needs a 21st century governance model, one that ensures autonomy with clear accountability, stability in leadership, and continuity of policies, irrespective of political cycles. As the ministry, our vision is clear: to move from personality-driven institutions to system-driven institutions. This requires modern data systems, transparent recruitment processes, digitized governance tools, and a regulatory ecosystem that supports quality rather than policing it. Through Pakistan Institute of Education, our technical arm, we are already strengthening data, learning analytics, and baseline assessments. We want to expand this support to the higher education sector as well. So decision making is no longer anecdotal but evidence-based. Leadership in higher education is not a position, it's a responsibility. And at a time when the world is being reshaped by AI, shifting geopolitics, climate challenges, and economic transitions, We need leaders who can think beyond their institutions, build trust and inclusivity, safeguard academic freedom, and promote research culture, and most importantly, lead with character. This conference theme, Leadership with Integrity, is exactly what Pakistan needs today. We will support initiatives that help build a national leadership pipeline for our universities, rectors, deans, registrars, finance and quality leaders. People trained not just in administration, but in visionary ethical leadership. Reform is no longer optional, it is urgent and empirical. Our priority areas include curriculum modernization, bringing curricula in line with international standards, industry needs, emerging technologies, and new economic sectors, and strengthening quality assurance with unified learning standards and outcome-based evaluation. Global recognition of Pakistan, key priority for us. We are working closely with international partners to ensure Pakistani degrees, boards, and certifications gain broader global acceptance. Research and innovation ecosystem is like incentivizing research clusters, international linkages, and industry-academia partnerships so that our universities become creators, not just consumers of knowledge. Financial stability and efficient use of resources is another area, and we are encouraging innovation in resource generation and improved governance of university finances. From AI-enabled digital learning systems to digital credentialing, Pakistan must not be left behind in the global education technology revolution. Our commitment as a ministry is that I want to ensure all of you today. We stand ready to work with APSA, HEC, COMSTECH, provincial HECs, and every rector present here. Our ministry will facilitate regulatory reforms, support data-driven decision-making, promote global partnerships, create pathways for international accreditation, strengthen the board governance and assessment ecosystem, and ensure that higher education remains at the center of Pakistan's national development agenda. We may have different roles, but our destination is the same. Pakistan's higher education future will not be shaped in policies alone. It will be shaped in our classrooms, your labs, your decisions, your hiring, your mentoring, and your courage. And this world is changing faster than curricula, faster than systems, and sometimes faster than policy itself. We need universities that produce employable graduates, encourage critical thinking, prioritize research quality over quantity, build inclusive, safe, and progressive campuses, and create graduates who do not seek jobs but create them. And if our universities transform, Pakistan transforms. As we gather here today, let us commit to a future where governance is strong, leadership is principled, reforms are bold, partnerships are meaningful, and higher education becomes the pride of Pakistan. Let us shape a system where every young Pakistani, whether from a village, a city, or a remote valley, has the chance to rise, contribute, and lead. I thank APSA and all partners for organizing this important dialogue. I look forward to the outcomes, recommendations, and the collective roadmap that emerges today. Together, we will shape a higher education system worthy of our youth, worthy of our nation, and worthy of Pakistan's future. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And now I would request Chairman APSA, Professor Dr. Chaudhry Abdul Rahman Sahab, sir, to please honor the stage and give the souvenirs to our honorable guests there. And we have our keynote speakers and then moderators and then our co-hosts. And I would request Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry Sahab and Ma'am Majea, ma'am, please do the honors, ma'am. I really appreciate. I would request Hassan Muhammad Khan Sahab, sir, to please receive your souvenir as keynote speaker, sir. जाते जाते से तालियां बज जानी चाहिए इस वक्त, कोई बात नहीं, लास्ट है. थैंक यू वेरी मच. हाज़म साहब साइड पे हो जाइए सर, आगे आ जाइएगा सर. Thank you very much. I would request Asadullah Saab, the Executive Director, Riphah International University. Sir, please, on the stage. I request Mia Imran Masood Saab, sir, to please come on the stage. Now, thank you to all these gentlemen who have moderated the sessions. First of all, I would request Mr. Awais Rauf Saab, sir, to please come on the stage and receive your souvenir. I would request Dr. Hamad Naveed Saab, sir, to please come and receive your souvenir. Now for the co-host, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Now for the co-host for this Rectors Conference, I would request Professor Dr. Sumaira Rahman, Rector Superior University, ma'am, to please come on the stage and receive your souvenir. And you were the part of that 6th Rectors Conference 2025. I'll request Dr. Abdul Basit Saab, the Chancellor President, sir, please. I would request Brigadier Ajaib Saab, sir, to please. Ibadat University, ji. Requesting Hassan Muhammad Khan Saab again from Riphah University. Hassan Khan Saab. I request Dr. Abu Bakr Saab, sir, University of Rawalpindi. Now for the partners, I request Abdul Wajid Saab, the Prime Institute, sir. And requesting Dr. Mukhtar Saab from University of Southern Punjab. I would request Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry Saab, so kindly, sir, receive your souvenir. So you can come up here as the co-host, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your hospitality. Thank you very much for your hospitality and facilitation, sir. To Team COMSTECH, well done. And now I will request Chairman APSAP to please give the souvenir to our chief guest, Ms. Wajeha Kama. It will make you remember, ma'am, that you were the part of the 6th Rectors Conference 2025. Iqbal sir, it's a picture. जी. And there is one souvenir from COMSTECH for our chief guest. And the souvenir from COMSTECH to our chief guest. Sir, a book presentation. I would request the chairman, sir, to please present the book, Cultivating Leadership. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You have been a wonderful audience, inshallah. Next year we'll meet at the 7th Rectors Conference 2026. So, on aap logon ka, please we'll make sure that